All I have to say, other than to say thank you for bringing us to the Quad Cities. On behalf of the Quad City Mallards, we'd like to thank you all again. Let me turn this now over to Scott Mullen, the architect of bringing hockey back to the Quad Cities.
Okay, a couple things here that we're going to wrap up. We'll take a couple of questions from the media before we do one-on-ones, and as we're doing that, after we take a couple of questions and we start interviewing the media one-on-one, anybody who would like to come up and get their picture with the car is certainly welcome to do that from the Back to the Future movie. So at this point, if you'd like to ask any of these gentlemen or myself a question, any members of the media, we'll take a couple right now. I think that's a decision.
We're going to bring back Mel. We are absolutely going to bring back Mel, but we might put him in a new dress. Okay? That question came up very early this morning from a little young man who had said the same question. That and talking nanos or something. That was something else.
We couldn't fit him in the car. His head was too big. We were trying to get him.
It's okay.
Yes, sir. I can't hear you.
Was the question on the old logo or the classic logo? Certainly we're going to pay homage to the success of that franchise. And like I said, Howard Cornfield was a big supporter of what we were doing here. And that was a big selling point for us, actually, to have the history of the Mallards. As Doc Brown said in the intro, Cleveland wasn't the same without the Browns. Oakland, not the Raiders. Coming from my own NASCAR experience, I know that Wilkesboro said, oh, we'll get racing back. It's been 20 years since Wilkesboro had racing. And now they look back and say, boy, we thought we'd get racing back, and it never happened. So a lot of the classic uniforms, we have promotional nights that will be announced over the next several weeks as we unveil some of the planning that will absolutely pay homage to some of the designs. We had a lot of people come back and say, I'm not so sure we want the Sheriff night, but we'll take some of the others.
Yes, sir. Well, I think I don't know how many are good playing shape, but I think they have to go through a draft, and there's a lot of process with selection. But
actually, there are a few of the old players that'll be available in the draft. If you remember players like Frank Littlejohn, Chad Woolard, those players will be actually available in the draft later this week.
So we'll be competing with Dayton.
But Joe Dimmeline has retired.
And Kerry Toporowski's in Las Vegas today.
The ECHL is considered the premier AA hockey league. What level are you at?
We don't like to say premier and elite and things like that. What we are is this. We have 8 veteran slots on each roster. That allows us to go out and sign some of the greatest talent in AAA and AA minor league hockey that exists right now. Question is, people say, how do you do that? Well, we have the largest salary cap of any league outside the American Hockey League. We have a $13,000 a week salary cap. We have 8 veteran positions, which allows us to go out and sign players like Frank Littlejohn, Chad Woolard, Colin Chalks, Brian Smolenski, who played up in Port Huron last year. So we create a situation with our salary cap where we are able to bring physical talent to the game. We also sprinkle in with that 4 rookies that are mandatory each and every night, 60 games or less, so that there is the youth aspect. This year we will also allow ourselves to dress 19 players per game. Most leagues only dress 17 or 18. We will dress 19 this year to allow each team to have that utility player, whether it be a penalty killer, whether it be a tough defenseman, maybe a defenseman that's a little slower that can't be out on an every shift basis, but maybe becomes a favorite within the community. So we have slotted an extra spot. We call it our fan spot. It's that player that there is that true affinity for that player within that community. Yes, they do. Last year, the Fort Wayne Comets had an affiliation with the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Flint Generals had an affiliation with the Detroit Red Wings. I believe Bloomington has had affiliations over the years with Montreal. Yes, to answer your question, we do have affiliations, but I will tell you this, we do not live and breathe with affiliations. Affiliations are great, but we are not interested in just developing players so that someone else can take them away from us. That is something that this league put together 3 years ago when we reformed the IHL, because we know that's what you want. That's what the fans want. You want to be able to look out on the ice and see the McFarlands and Toporowskis and Dimmelines and Goulashes and all the great players that wore the Mallards jerseys over the years. Those are the things that draw people to the buildings in the IHL. And again, we're at our infant stage. This is our 3rd season. Have we made some mistakes along the way? Yes, we have. Have we tried to correct those mistakes? Yes, we have. But we're moving forward in a direction that we think is fan-friendly.
Excuse me, will season ticket holders be able to get their prior season seats for the upcoming season?
I think what we'll do, like, all the people that went to supportqchockey.com and put down a deposit will have the first priority to get to select their seats. And there's still time to do that if you haven't done it. You can go to supportqchockey.com or you can go to the iWireless Center box office. It's a $25 deposit. In the very near future, they're going to be rolling out the ticket pricing and season ticket plans. And at that point, they'll be meeting with all those people first to pick their seats. So it's a work in process, but it'll be coming together very shortly.
The average fan attendance in the IHL last year was right around 3,400. The low in the league was Port Huron. I believe they drew about 1,400 or 1,500 a game, and the high in the league was Fort Wayne, which drew around 7,800 a game. The average without the high and the low would have been about 2,900, 2,800, yes.
Then we have a big inflatable duck. I have to see if we can find it first. I don't even know what's
The big inflatable duck? Yeah, we'll be bringing stuff like that back. I think one of the things that you'll learn of us as an organization is that the in-game experience is the most important part that we can control. I've seen the coaching candidates, and they're great people, and we're going through that vetting process right now, and in some cases that involves some of the current organizations we're with. But the in-game experience is something that everybody at this table can guarantee will be something that you'll be proud to be a part of, and you'll see value every night. So if we can have a little bit of P.T. Barnum, certainly we'll have the inflatable duck. Our folks have been looking all over for those kinds of things, and there's a lot of YouTube out there now, so we get to see how many different times they did something like that. Great question.
Michael, you want to take an opportunity to introduce one of our guests?
Yes, I wanted to introduce a couple of the guests that we have here today. Please do not chase them out of town after this press conference. The owners of the Bloomington Prairie Thunder in the front row, Mr. Tim Layton and Paul Wampler. Guys, would you stand up? We expect there will be a lot of fan trips back and forth between Bloomington and Quad City this year.
I know the media is a little strapped for time because they want to get their stories run, so we're going to have to wrap this up, but there'll be plenty of time. These guys are going to be in town, and you'll be able to ask questions, and you can always contact me here at the iWireless Center for something you'd like to ask me. I'll also be around here today for a little while, too, so you can come up and ask me questions individually if you like. So if you'd like to come up, take a picture of the car, do that. Just please don't wreck it. The owner of it's over there, and he'll be very mad. Thank you again for coming, and thank you for supporting Quad City Hockey. Let's go, Mallards.